What happened in practice for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix? Alex, oh my God, that's right. Tommy is on holiday. He has deserted us all. We will never forgive him. And we have Alex Jakes, an upgrade with... I'm sorry, Tommy, I know you're listening to this. An upgrade. So let's dive straight into it and start with free practice 1. And the big sort of feeling from everything going on today is that Imola, as much as it is narrow, it's difficult to overtake, the old schoolness of this track with the additional gravel traps has caused a little bit of chaos today, especially with one man, but we'll get onto him shortly. But overall, not a clean day at all for the drivers.
No, not a clean day at all. That's why I love this place. The walls are close, there's gravel everywhere. You can talk about track limits if you want to, but basically, the drivers have to go to the physical limits of this track. And that just gives us a greater visual example of the dancing on the edge. As a result, great old school track, brilliant to see. I don't think anyone had a perfect day. I don't think anyone had a perfectly clean day because Imola just doesn't allow it.
Ticey says, how amazing is it to see all this lovely gravel making a comeback? Warms the heart. I know gravel doesn't work in every part of every track because some need runoff in order to slow the car down a little bit more. You don't want to be going straight into gravel at 200 miles an hour. But there are also... Austria is a massive example of this, where we're always talking about exit curbs and sausage curbs and this, that and the other. Stick a bit of gravel there and they either go there and lose a hell of a lot of time or they don't go there at all.
Yeah, and to be honest, it heightens the skill, right? If we have a quali session tomorrow where everyone's on the edge and like you can dance a couple of wheels to the gravel like you can on the exit of Ravazza and still make it work, that is visually amazing. If you just duck wide, say turn 9 in Austria, and you like, okay, that lap's gone, go again, it's not as impressive as going to the edge of the gravel trap. So as you say, it's not for every corner, but for the ones where track limits are so frequent, this is just an easy solution. You get to appreciate the driver's skill more, and we end up talking about the skill or a big mistake that's cost the driver instead of track limits, which is just win, 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 win.
Absolutely. We go to free practice 2, and we don't have a Red Bull in the top 6. And then you start to believe. You have Charles Leclerc ahead of Oscar Piastri and then Yuki Tsunoda. Let's talk about Yuki first and foremost. At Luke Cam 3930737 comes in with, is Yuki cooking again? And I think that is a very good shout. He was strong in both practice sessions, 6th in FP1, 3rd in FP2. And it's bewildering because they're, I think, the only team to have not brought any upgrades whatsoever. They're just like, you know what, a filming day and being kind of near to Imola is all you need. And Yuki is flying at the moment.
If you take out the sprint weekends, he has been building so well from FP1 into FP2. If you give him 3 hours of practice, he's looking outstanding and fully motivated. This driving is a response. He's taken a big leap forward. Everyone knew that one of the RB drivers wasn't going to make it to 2025 because we believe that Lawson's got a deal there. So Yuki saw the writing on the wall and has responded brilliantly. And that narrative is really interesting across a weekend. He started brilliantly.
He certainly has. Now, a question that sort of sums up both free practice sessions and what you alluded to, Alex, and it comes in from rightonme_. Has everyone forgotten how to drive in Imola? It's as simple as that. Because not only with the mistakes, but also just not getting out of the way for people. I think Hamilton was a very... he was the one very much in the firing line from Fernando Alonso, from Max Verstappen. Now, this moment, I think, more particularly got a bit more of a highlight, I believe, because Verstappen, of course, on a flying lap, Hamilton was, turns 4, 5, around that sort of area, and gets out of the way, but gets out of the way quite slowly. And I feel like Hamilton in practice sessions does that quite a lot, where he just relaxes for a little bit longer than most other drivers and then just pulls to one side. Max, you can quite clearly see, was having a day that he'd like to forget anyway, and he snapped a little bit. There was a little bit of a slowdown, a little bit of a turn across, and I just immediately went back to 2021. I was like, no, he's not lost it. That's it. You know, if things start to go a little bit wrong, we could have another 2021.
I don't know what was going on with Lewis, but the communication breakdown with team and driver today, he did seem to be in the way more than normal. So yes, it was a strange one. I do like it when they get wound up in practice, though. It honestly did feel like there was a minute where it's like, guys, what is going on? You're all in each other's way for a solid minute of track time.
So to mention in free practice, 2 other things that happened. Lando, of course, finishing 12th, but he bailed out of what was probably, if not definitely, going to be the fastest lap of the day.
Yeah.
And then more mistakes out there as well. Max, complaining about the front biting and then almost spinning, and it was a day to forget for Red Bull. And a question from Jay Tegg. How high are Matt's and my own Delulu levels? Are we thinking Ferrari are the guys to beat this weekend? I think they're high in the fact that Red Bull are on the back foot, but not high in the fact that I'm absolutely convinced that Ferrari are going to be the ones to take full advantage of this. You know, all the pain and hurt us, fans have had about wanting a competitive season and not getting it. You have to think that Red Bull will figure it out. It's Friday, it's practice. There's a reason for it to be a practice day, and it's not a sprint weekend, so we're not going to have one and then straight into qualifying. But I think it could be very close. So the delusion levels are high, and especially in qualifying, if Max and Sergio qualify 5th and 6th, and you have both hosts of Ferrari and McLaren's ahead around Imola, it's game on. And then it might be an amazing race where we get no overtakes, but it's amazing because people are ahead of Red Bull.
I do think it could be, that's really nice to say, isn't it? I think it could be any of 3 teams on pole tomorrow. And genuinely, like, even if Red Bull do their homework, they do look unsuited to that soft compound. And to be honest, that is usually a street circuit tyre. Where have we seen Red Bull struggle? If they have struggled at all, tends to be the temporary street circuit layout where they take a little bit longer to fine tune the car. So it seems ridiculous, doesn't it? When he's taken every pole this year in the Grand Prix format, but I don't know. There's a chance, and it's wide open. I finished the broadcast today saying it's wide open, so I believe it is.
Question from Ahmed at Backbar. Are we going to see a much closer field at the top by the end of the season? Now, I think a lot of people, of course, getting very excited. We're off the back of a Lando Norris win, that we don't know fully where the pace was compared to a Max firing on all cylinders. He had a bit of floor damage. He was on older tyres. How that would have actually stacked up, we don't know. But then you come to Imola, a very different track to Miami, and Red Bull still continue to struggle in certain ways and getting the cars set up. So I can see why Ahmed's maybe getting a little bit excited here, where we go, oh, is this actually happening? Because, of course, Ferrari have brought a whole host of upgrades for this weekend. McLaren brought it one race earlier, but have stuck it on Oscars as well, or the full package on Oscars. And you do think that, because I think Adrian Newey did say that there was a ceiling to this package, and that there maybe wasn't as much that they could really extend than they maybe initially thought. And with Ferrari and McLaren, especially McLaren, figuring their package out, you do wonder if we could genuinely get a fight here between now and the end of the season. Now, that is exciting, and I know it's Friday, but that's the whole point. We're Formula One fans, and we get excited at the smallest possible thing.
Yeah, I think there's a few things going on here. I think the Red Bull doesn't love the softest compound tyre. I think it's a bumpy track. We've seen what happened last year in Singapore. I still think they're comfortably the class of the field at a traditional track, but I do think that attention is going to turn to the new regulations. That's going to take up more and more time, and therefore, as this era disappears away, I think naturally we've seen this, haven't we, with every single regulation set, that the order converges towards the end of a regulation era. But yeah, I think come the end of the season, it will be hyper competitive, and this weekend might be a preview of what's to come towards the back end of the year.
If you had to choose, who are you putting on pole position tomorrow, Alex?
I'm going for Charles Leclerc. Yeah.
Oh God, that's such music to my ears. Are you trying to appease me right now? You're just trying to, just because you're on P1, it doesn't mean.
No, I would love to have just broken everyone's heart and said Max, but I actually think Charles will do it. I think his motivation is properly high. I think he's got the new race engineer. It feels like he's had a big thought about making that change. It's a bold one. If you ask for an engineering change, or if the team decide there's an engineering change, you have to then back it up. You have to get that working relationship off to a fast start. Pole position on home turf, and this is the closest venue to their Maranello factory. So yeah, would mean a lot. I think Lando there's just some drivers and circuits get on better, don't they? I think Lando just goes well here, no matter what he's in. So I think he might be alongside on the front row. I think we might see Max in P3, just purely because of that soft tyre trouble that they've had. When he's on pole by half a second, we can all laugh at this.
And you'll be back tomorrow to apologise when he is on pole by half a second.
I will.
Thank you, Alex.
Full official statement of apology.
And finally, because I usually throw it to Tommy, but he's not here, and you are great at thinking on your feet, Alex, what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts are that I hope Tommy's having a lovely holiday, well deserved. This is such a special place to come motor racing because it doesn't look like a traditional sporting venue because it's literally the edge of town. So to turn up to Imola and to see the fans make their way in, the passion that's here, but because of what this town has been through, just the appreciation that Formula One is in town, I think they're so pleased. They went for so long without a race here. Then they had the devastation of last year. There's just happy smiles on faces everywhere you look in the grandstands, and that's just a nice place to go to work.
Wow, the most coherent final thoughts we've ever had on the P1 podcast. Take notes, Tommy. All right, take notes. And that is it. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. That's practice done and dusted. I'll be live on Twitch tomorrow, Matt P1 Tommy, if you haven't followed us already. And, of course, on Sunday as well for our watch-alongs. Alex will be here the whole weekend. Thank you, mate, for stepping in for Tommy. And, yeah, we will see you very soon qualifying, perhaps either Alex apologising or it's going to be one of the most delusional podcasts you've ever seen. Until then, see you soon. Bye.